is to co-design and co-facilitate a participatory experience. So you want to work with other people ideally to design and work with other people ideally to facilitate an experience that is not about anybody in the front of the room acting like me with all the things to say, but is about collecting wisdom and making an experience where people are engaging with each other. So that's like the purpose of the project for the facilitation course. And then for the 5 of us that decided, with Keith involved as well, and Susan, that we wanted to, and maybe, do you want to maybe say, or, yeah.
You want me to stop this?
The reason that we wanted to do this course in this way was because we wanted to be relevant for our town and for our community, and that there's so much that needs facilitation here, and all of your topics are exactly that. And I think that this example that Adrienne Marie Brown gave in one of the videos about ants. Yes. So when there's a flood, ants have this incredibly brilliant strategy that they come together and latch onto each other and build a foundation so that other ants can climb on top of the ants so that they can make this entire mound of ants, and then they can float. Some of the ants don't make it. Some of the ants are not comfortable. They're being pulled apart, they're being squashed, but they're organizing together in order for the survival in the moment that they're in. And Adrienne Marie Brown asked, and they're doing it to make their body more stable, which I also thought was really, how do we organize ourselves around what we long for and what we believe in? And I feel like all of your topics kind of touch into that. So I just want to offer 4, on the back of the group culture is the principles that Adrienne Marie Brown uses. And I just want to pull 4 of them out as a way to talk about this design project. So, the first one is your project a project or is it an initiative? So what's the scale of your project? A project is something that you're coming together, we're going to come together. I mean, the convening that we did for this course around the schools, around hearing stories about opportunities missed and realized, that was a project because we actually were not intending to do something long-term to follow up on that. We wanted to give you an example of an experience. It was dear to us. We wanted it to be relevant. You know, it has a start and a finish. An initiative has long-term investments. And I think that's a really important thing for y'all to be considering is what you're doing, a project or is it an initiative? And I would give small is good, small is all. The large is a reflection of the small. Learn how to be fractal. And to me, I still think the most magical thing about facilitation, I really think it's the most magical to me, is that whatever happens in the facilitation and design team happens in the room. So if you want to design an experience that has, parents learning with students, learning with teachers, learning with pastors, all the things, administration, having those in the design team, taking the time to build the relationships, taking the time to be able to go deep, allows then 300 people that are gathered, that are the same kind of mix of folks, they go deep. Like when I'm on teams and we don't go deep with each other, the rooms don't go deep with each other. If I've got issues with Cindy, but Cindy and I aren't talking about the fact that we have issues with each other, issues start popping up in the room. If we are talking about our issues and we're going at each other, the going at each other comes into the room. What happens in the small happens in the large. So if there's something you really, 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 really want to make sure happens, make sure it happens in your small, and then you report back. To me, it's magic, and it happens. Maybe it won't. All right, second one. What is the focus of your gathering? So, like we talked a lot about last week with the appreciative inquiry, generative questions, what you pay attention to grows. Part of that is also what's the vision that you're holding? Like, are you seeing, when it comes to change and social change and these huge systems that are totally messed up, are you seeing the world that you want to be? If we're just seeing the world that we don't want and how we want to dismantle the systems, which like, I want to dismantle these systems, but if I can't see that vision that is calling, I'm not going to be able to grow that vision. Adrienne Marie Brown talks about that vision being the strengthening of the muscle of looking forward together. The strengthening of that muscle of looking forward together. How do we cultivate the muscle of radical imagination needed to dream together beyond fear? Are the spaces that you're creating a place where we can practice radical imagination, where we can actually dream together beyond where the fear takes over? If we're not also organized towards what we really want and what we long for, we will always settle into just reacting and trying to stop something bad from happening. I do believe that what we pay attention to grows, so I want to stop growing the crisis and stop growing the critique. It takes time to design and be intentional. So from today, you have 6 weeks until the end of the semester when your experience should be. If you're going to go with that goal, if you're a student or if you're choosing to go with that goal. If you're trying to do a meaningful gathering where you're going to like really follow the process of having a design team that reflects what you're trying to do and all the steps, you should have at least 3 months. So we're setting you up for, excuse me, sorry, for quite the typical graduate school experience where you're asked to do more than you actually have the time and capacity to do. It's probably not the case here at Lenore Ryan, but a lot of times higher education is built on a dominant system that operates in that sort of a way. So apologies for that. And this principle from Adrienne Marie Brown of less prep and more presence is, I think, is really something real. So, you know, what is the compelling thing that you're moving towards? And like capturing that place where it is compelling to whoever's on your team. It's not just a, this is in our brain that we think that this is a good idea. That's not going to bring presence. That's not going to bring your whole body into it. But like, what's compelling you and who is the team that's doing this work? You can ad-lib, you can improvise, you can make things happen in a way when you have presence within yourself and your team. You know, you need the planning also, but I think it's like more presence than planning. Not presence over planning, but less prep, more planning. And then also the being really intentional. I think one of the things, like a good facilitated experience, folks think we don't need the facilitators. We could have done this without them because everything flows together so smoothly that it's like, why are they even there? And that has to do with such a high degree of intentionality. We've thought about when you reach down, that pin is going to be right there where you want it. And, you know, right when you're thirsty, we're paying attention to when that break is, all of those types of things. So as intentional as possible. Once again, because they're everything, relationships. Move at the speed of trust, focus on critical connections more than critical mass. When I first heard that line, I was like, ooh. Focusing on critical connections versus critical mass, and build resilience by building relationships. Another teacher of mine, Chris Corrigan, says quality is born in relationship, and relationship takes time and undivided attention. It goes right in with the presence. Relationships are not going to come without like real, honest, genuine attention. Real, honest, genuine, hard conversations. On our team, like there's been conversations that were not easy, but we come out better because we take the time to have those, and then we trust each other that we can have those conversations because we've actually had them, as opposed to being afraid and trying to run away from conflict and being passive aggressive and all that kind of stuff. And that's why also teams are such a central part of the design process, because the relationships are everything.